Warning, this show contains adult language, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. My name is Adrian Babashoff, and this is episode 236. Thank you guys for all being here today. And this is going to be possible meat shortages solutions. Forgive the background noise. That is my work vehicle. I do these podcasts on my work commutes. So let's get into it. There's a lot of talk. I guess what happened is, and it's not really on the news, I've been trying to find it. It was published in New York Times and stuff like that, so I know that it is real. And what it is JBS, a very large, one of the, if not the largest meat packing company in the United States, just got hacked about a week ago, maybe about a week and a half ago as I record this. Not a lot of talk about it, but a lot of people freaking out saying that there's going to be some shortages. And it appears that there's going to be shortages in all kinds of things. Now, with food, there's another one that I seen. It was a TikTok video, I think, or an Instagram video. I think it was TikTok, where they showed a potato farmer where this guy was sliding down like a 60-foot mountain of potatoes. And they basically had to bury the potatoes that they grew, billions and billions of pounds, and had to spend money on it. And I don't know if this means that we're going to have a potato shortage or what, but in any case, living a resilient, sustainable life, I think that we need to be prepared for things like this. Now, first thing I'm going to say, are we going to die? Is meat completely essential for our survival? It depends, I guess. Some people claim that they actually their bodies live a lot better, they're better health and things like that. So that's for everybody to decide, but if we start having shortages on all kinds of different foods and things like that, I think that it's pretty wise for us to stock up. And even if we didn't have a shortage, I think it's just wise to have extra things. We're not freaking out here being preppers for the end of the world, the zombie apocalypse. But things happen. Nature's nature. It doesn't really give a shit about you, right? You could have hurricanes, and now we're having these disruptions, these hacking things. So I personally like to live my life minimally affected by all these things. So one of the first things I'm going to talk about, and one thing that pisses me off is that a lot of people don't give solutions. There's just a bunch of crap out there to sell you a bunch of fear and everybody to freak out and go, oh my God, and maybe it gets a lot of views, and those people do a hell of a lot better than I am, so I'm probably full of shit. They're the ones actually making money and getting thousands of subscribers. But the thing I don't fucking like, and I really don't care about getting thousands and thousands of subscribers by feeding fear and just talking shit. I want to find solutions. I want to know these things myself. So I was searching for things, and I really haven't found much. So that's why the inspiration for today's show is, well, what do you do if we have a shortage? One of the things I did is logically I went and stocked my freezers, and I've got such things as chicken and some pork and some beef and things like that. Burger. I think burger's so versatile. I didn't go get steaks and filet mignon and things like that, right? I'm a thousandaire, not a millionaire. But yeah, one of the things I did besides having a lot of frozen meats, and by the way, frozen vegetables, I stocked up. I've got 2 chest freezers that are approximately, I think, like 4.5, 5, probably about 5 or 6 cubic feet. They're both stocked to the brim, right? I've got stuff like broccoli and carrots and stir fries and things like that. Sensible stuff. But we're talking about the meat here today. So one of the things I did in conjunction, and I really don't like these things, but like certain things, like I love tuna. Tuna is a great one. Some of us need proteins and stuff like that. If that's the way, again, everybody's got their own ideologies and stuff, what they need, don't need. Me, I personally like meat in my life. Do I need just meat? No. But what I did is I got myself a bunch of tuna. A lot of these canned foods, guys, have a very long shelf life. And one thing we teach on the show here is to use stuff that you're going to use, right? Don't just buy a bunch of shit that you're not going to eat. One of my solutions with the tuna, I love tuna salad sandwiches. Those are very versatile. I scoop them up with chips and stuff, corn chips. But I found these, I'm trying to go more paleo diet. And one thing I found was these almond flour yucca, some fucky shitty, whatever, something that's not made out of like wheat, soy, and stuff like that. But basically what I do is I got myself some cream of mushroom, and I mix it with the tuna. I put a little bit of cheese and some pepper and some green onions, just kind of chop them on top. Damn, and use these crackers. So it's basically like a clam chowder, but it's like a tuna chowder. Delicious. My kids love it. Me and my young one, we eat it all the time. But I bought a bunch of this stuff and found out, finding some recipes and things that I can utilize this. The one that I don't like though is canned chicken. Now I did buy probably about 20 or 30 cans of this stuff, but one of the things you can do is you can throw those in soups and stuff like that, and you can't really tell the difference too well. Canned chicken sandwich, with mayo or whatever you're going to mix in there. It's not the best, but I guarantee you get hungry and there's a supply chain disruption and you're going without chicken for a few months or something like that. That can's going to taste pretty fucking good. And if you know how to cook, which we try to endorse on the show, you can doctor pretty much anything up. So I think very underrated is canned meats. And guys, you can do canned fish, canned beef. You could do you can basically almost can anything. So I heard some people say to stock up on some like canned sardines. Oh, I might do this, but I'm not really a sardines person. So that's one of the things that, example, I just wanted to put out there. I did try it in mustard, some creamy mustard sauce. And guys, it's the whole entire fish. I think they chopped the head off for some reason, but I've seen them with the heads on. Wasn't actually that bad. Was it something that I would love to eat all the time? No. But I'll keep them there for diversity. Maybe a little package from like Costco or something with about like 8-10 cans, in a pinch. And I know people who do like it, so they like to, it's disgusting, I think, but not bad. I could do it in the mustard. But that's the example I wanted to give you. Don't buy shit like that if you're not going to eat it. Just buy the stuff that you are going to use. So that's one of my answers to this disruption that we have here. So one more time before we leave, though, is meat essential to our survival? I think not. I think a lot of people, vegetarians, they've survived for a long time. There's a lot of different things we can do for protein. So I don't think we're going to die, right? And I don't think that the food, well, I don't know. But if there was a disruption, I don't think it's going to last for an entire year, although it could. But let's hope that it doesn't. So if you are thinking about how to deal with this and you do have land or you want to spin farm, raising animals on somebody else's land, I think that's very difficult, though, depending on where you're at with coyotes and stuff like that, the natural elements. But regardless, I think that we should all start familiarizing ourselves with growing animals. Now, I grew up in a third world country on a farm. I was 9 years old herding like 100 head of cattle by myself. I butchered turkeys, geese, chickens. I've done it, pretty much all of it. I don't think the only thing I've never butchered was a rabbit. But we've done sheep, goats, cows, and all kinds of different things. But one of the things I think that you guys should start familiarizing yourself with is if you are going to, do this on somebody else's land. There's a huge go to the land movement right now. People want to farm. Let's take a look and discuss just a few details here. Turnaround times is what I have. Now, chickens, which I got on my notes here, is somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks, maybe even 14. It's very quickly. So what are we looking at? About 3 months. And as long as you got the freezer capacity or your canning and all that, again, you're able to make this a quick turnaround there. Now, how many do you need? I don't know how many people you have in your family and things like that, but let's just say you did 40 chickens. You're going to devote a good 3 months of your life, maybe a little bit longer with the preps and everything like that, just for you to raise your own meat. And it's a lot of work to butcher. You want to talk about butchering 40 animals, it takes it's a lot of work. It's messy and it's a lot harder than what you think. But I just wanted to kind of graze over here because we got to try to cram this in 15 minutes. It's just some of the ideas from, if memory serves me correct, and some of the things that I already know. Quail are very simple. You actually don't even need anything. You can just rip out the breasts, I guess, and tear the legs off. You get a little pair of scissors. You can actually, minimal amount of processing. But quail take anywhere from 7 to 10 weeks, so a little bit quicker than chickens, and lot less space, and a lot less quiet. I think easier to kind of pen up and stuff like that. Rabbits, we got anywhere from 10 to 14 weeks. For those of you who don't know about rabbits, is people say fuck like rabbits, Rabbits they reproduce super, super fast. You got to get yourself a bull, which I believe they call them, and you want to get yourself a nice, good, big one. Keep him for breeding. Cull out all the males, keep all the females, and you literally can have a huge protein growth off raising your own rabbits. And people do raise them in cages and things like that. I don't know. I got my problems. We don't got enough time to go in details about it, but it's possible. Goats and sheep, I think you're looking anywhere from about 3 to 6 months, and these are very young. It's very tender meat, I know the subject matter might be a little touchy for some people, but you know, it is what it is. If you're raising meat and you're into it, get yourself familiarized with these timelines, and you're also going to need to know how much space you need. All right, we want to look at how much time, but we also need to know how much space do we need to actually grow these things. I personally don't like, I like to grow animals humanely. You know, let them free range and things like that. I just kind of weird, you know, I'm fucking cuckoo. I don't like my animals laying in their own shit, right? And I think that they should be allowed to roam around and get exercise and all kinds of things. Give you guys a tip that I did some research on, and now cage-free chickens means that the chicken could get outside in the sun for 10 minutes, and they put them back in under cover. I don't know, guys. We're being lied to. There's a lot of just crazy shit going on. It's why you might want to consider, if you are a meat eater, growing your own animals. Now, the one I want to talk about is aquaponics, and I never got to where I did it on large scale, raising tilapia and stuff like that. But what's nice about aquaponics, I'm not really an advocate anymore. Maybe one day, but for various reasons, plastic and water, and also, you know, everybody gets all dreamy-eyed when they talk about aquaponics. Now, I'm not against it, but I'm not buying farm-raised, you know, shrimp or farm-raised trout or salmon. You know, they got all these what do you think's happening when you're doing aquaponics? You got some people do it in a small little IBC tote, you know, 275 gallon tote, and they got like 50 fish in there. They're living in their own shit. Maybe that stuff's being circulated and they got plants and stuff like that, but it's still raising animals in a small little confined space. One thing you're going to find is these animals rubbing up against the walls and everything when they get bigger. There's not a lot of room for them. I think it's personally kind of cruel. You got to keep the DO, the dissolved oxygen levels, up super high. Some, like trout and things like that, are almost impossible to do in aquaponics. It's been a few years for me, maybe even a decade since I've even been in it, but maybe things have changed. But last time I seen, I was just like, wow. But what's really cool is you could do like tiger prawns and stuff like that, and like, what do they call it? Crawfish. There's all kinds of different variables and things that you can do. So I think it's pretty awesome. And in a way, like I said, you get vegetables as a byproduct, and you get the meat. So it's something to take in consideration. A lot of things could go bad, though, if you get a power outage and things like that. So things to take in consideration. But one I don't think I mentioned, too, is where's all the feed going to come from? You got to figure out how much it's going to cost to drain out all these animals, whether it's quail, rabbits, chickens, whether it's tilapia fish. Is that meat going to be worth it? How large of a scale do you have to do to be able to make this sustainable or resilient for your life? I guarantee you raise 10 chickens for meat, it's probably going to be some of the most expensive chicken you ever ate. It'll taste good. Don't get me wrong, farm-raised meat, it's the same as farm-raised vegetables. Those of you who are meat eaters, chicken should smell actually somewhat like sweet. The meat is pink, not yellow. I don't got time to talk into that, but it tastes way better when it's done by hand and it's done by yourself. Let's talk about some other stuff here. Farm-raised problem. We talked about that. I think that's funny, though, how, you know, aquaponics, suddenly raising fish in a barrel is like not so bad, you know, but raising that salmon, you know, farm-raised salmon in a giant net, And, you know, one thing I look at is, few people ever talk about that. I think they're in love with the dream, but not the reality is, do these fish ever get parasites, you know, in the aquaponic systems? Ever? Right? They're laying in there. I mean, sure, if things are circulated. I had a system where it actually jet streamed water at the bottom and caused this vortex, so I never had any poo. It always got mixed into the actual grow beds. I don't have time to share how I constructed this thing, but you guys, those of you who are creative enough will know that the intake where the water came into my system, I actually tipped my IBC totes and made them off level in contrast to what everybody else was doing. That way the poo runs down and funnels down just ever so slightly down to the conical area to one corner. But with the water that came in, would constantly hit that corner and keep that thing fluffed up so that the water going out, all that poo would get sucked out constantly and then fed into the plant. So that was one way. I also did with my sump pump, my sump tank there. I did the same thing where the water actually jetted from the pressure and just kept breaking everything apart. So that was pretty convenient. So what are we going to do? We're going to hunt. We're going to go hunt, man. Word on hunting. You know, those of you who have experience, I don't really have as much as you know, some of my friends do up there. No, not anywhere near, but I've studied enough and done enough of my own hunting to know that you don't always get stuff. It's very expensive. You've got to get permits. You got to get your tags and everything like that. And most of the time, you're not going to get anything. Everybody's after that gazelle or that deer, and in hunting season, when the state of Oregon is kind of like Hawaii, when there's big waves, there's nobody on the job site. They're out hunting. So you're not really guaranteed meat. One little piece of advice I'd give you, well, I got two here for you, is that some places it's illegal to actually shoot an animal without tags on your own property. So if you can design something big enough, you don't actually have to have tags. But again, check with the local code enforcement and things like that. Another one that I learned from a mountain man, a friend of mine who just recently passed away, was when you are going to shoot something as a deer, and I think this goes with everything here, hunting for fish, mountain goats, deer or whatever. One of the things he said is that they're full of adrenaline, and they actually have these glands in their the layer of their skin. And what happens is you want to get that animal and you want to skin it as soon as possible. Get that thing hung up. When I catch my fish, of course, I do a lot of fishing. I always give thanks. When I catch that fish with a circle hook, mind you, it always catches it on the lip. So if it's a female, I can pull that hook out, no problem, and release it. I only eat the males. But when I bring those fish in, I immediately take and I'll do something like with the back of my knife or something. I'll give them one good whack on the back of the head and just put them out immediately. And I say thank you and everything. Put them out, get them on ice, and get them gutted as soon as possible. That way it gets rid of all the gaminess and everything. And just immediately, when to me my observation might get me in trouble, but when you pick a plant, you kill an animal, both of these things, you're taking a life form, and immediately what's happening? Bacteria is moving in. So it's my opinion only to remove guts and the poo track and everything like that. Plants, wash them off, get them all nice and dried, and put in the refrigerator as soon as possible. And have respect for both plants, right? To me, plants and trees, it's amazing how people just disregard, like, yeah, it's nothing. You just grab it and rip it out of the ground, Rub up against a tomato. Why do you think a tomato puts off scent? It's because it's letting others know, and it's giving off a smell to deter from being under attack. Amazing. I don't want to go too far. I don't have enough time. But yeah, get the skin off. And we talked about fishing. I guess we're running out of time here. Damn, I want to keep going. Guys, I know some of this might be a little controversial for some people, but we may get taken off air at some point. But guys, always remember upandinit.com. There's the website if they ever deplatform me. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've never talked about that before, but because we're going to get a little heavier. I'd like to talk are we actually humanizing animals? And about the natural kingdom. Natural kingdom's a trippy ass place, man. If you come for peace, that is not the place for peace. There's animals killing animals. Everybody's killing stuff and just doing crazy things. There's infanticide, female mothers that will actually eat their own young to save the others and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. There's baby sharks that eat their brothers and sisters inside in utero. Crazy stuff. But anyways, we don't have enough time for that. But if I gave you guys any value, please like and subscribe. Please give me a review. Help me to get the show off the ground, guys. It's like I'm talking to a wall. I never know if people are listening, if they like it or not. I need to know what else I could do for you guys. So if you guys really like the show and you want it to keep going, upandinitshow@gmail.com. Let me know how I'm doing. Give me some advice. Give me some things that maybe you guys might want to hear about. So it's upandinitshow@gmail.com. You guys can just email. Everything's in the description below. So it's Up and In It on upandinit.com. You guys can find the website. Up and In It on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and anywhere where you guys can find the podcast. So as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.